Hi everybody, this is Joel Carlson, Faces of Minnesota. Today my guest is Alexis Walsko. She's the owner of Lola Red Public Relations and also the co-host of Shop Girls on the radio show which airs on My Talk 107 on Saturday mornings. So welcome Alexis, and we want to ask you the first question. Help us to know a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up and what kind of things were you interested in as a child and as a teenager?
Ooh, that is a tough one. Well, I mean, I know where I grew up. What was I interested in? That's a whole other question. I'm not sure if I'm willing to go that deep. I was born in the Chicago area.
Okay.
At about the age of 9, my parents moved to Minnesota. I grew up in Plymouth, Minnesota. I went to Armstrong. I'm a Falcon. Shortly after I graduated from high school, I attended the University of Colorado at Boulder, and I stayed in Boulder because it's a really hard place to live. I studied marketing and entrepreneurship at Boulder, so it's kind of funny that I'm in PR because that isn't my degree. I've learned along the way, but I love business. And so actually, I could tell you a million stories of the random stuff I was into as a kid, but I always loved business. And so when I was little, like my friends would make, I don't know, they were really artistic and would make these cool things, and I wanted my dad to build me a store in the front yard.
You sell them.
Sell the stuff.
So instead of lemonade, you rather sell merchandise.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh my gosh, look, we can customize your name in bubble letters. Like, where else could you get that except for the street corner in Plymouth, Minnesota? Yeah.
Cool.
So obviously, not much has changed.
Now, when you were in school then, you majored in business?
I majored in business.
Okay.
And so the University of Colorado at Boulder has a really incredible business program. It's the LEADS business program. They had a entrepreneurship specialty that you could take, and marketing. And so obviously marketing is pretty general, but I wanted to go into the specialty of entrepreneurship. So I can pretty much start and end a business and write a business plan
in your sleep.
Easy for me.
Yeah.
And it's still to this day, it's odd, but spreadsheets make me really excited. I like to organize a spreadsheet. I like to compare. I like to compare numbers and do all of that stuff. But I also get really excited by magazines, and I think that that's actually starting when I was younger. I was a girl's girl, and I loved to read magazines and find out how my life was going to be by reading magazines. You could always find me painting my fingernails or wearing lip gloss, and even though I went to school in Boulder, Colorado, where I did the almost hippie thing for, I might have made it 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I still had to have my perfect hair and wear my lip gloss, and so I was slightly out of place in Boulder at that time, and then I was even more out of place in the business school at Boulder at that time because it was primarily men, especially in the entrepreneurship program, and everybody wanted to start a .com that sold mountain gear. I was like, it's called REI.
Yeah.
I've heard about it.
Right.
But I wanted to make lipstick that gave back to the world.
Oh, cool.
Again, not much has changed.
Now, with you having an interest in business, but I also know your creative side, would you say you're more of a right and left brain, or which side do you think you favor more?
Well, I'm not really sure what each side does.
Okay.
I would think, Joel, that's a really good question. I don't really know what I am. I know what I'm really good at, which I think is what has helped me thus far. I can read a spreadsheet. I'm really good on the phone. Real, advanced phone skills.
Okay. Which is even more important now with so many people just using text and not speaking as well, so that's a good tool.
Exactly. I would prefer to talk on the phone any day of the week than anything else. I'm really good in meetings, and I am horrible on the computer. So I cannot, for some reason, I'm fairly organized, but I cannot keep an email box organized to save my life. So
it's hard for a lot of people.
Well, now you have so many email boxes. You have Facebook, you have Twitter, you have LinkedIn, then you have your email, then maybe you might have a personal email address as well.
Right.
Then if you're on Match.com, man, are you busy.
Another thing I want to ask you about is starting Lola Red. You started it in 2000, is that correct?
About 2001, and
okay.
So at the time I was about 22 years old. I was really young. How I started, I'm going to give you the really abbreviated version. When I was in Boulder, I wanted an internship, but since I was, I don't know, I was just marching to the beat of my own drum. I wanted to work for like a skincare or beauty related company because that was something that I loved. And I went and I had an internship with a company called Cowgirl Skincare. I figured out at Cowgirl Skincare, well actually when I showed up, they told me, please write a press release and we'd like to be on Oprah. And of course, me being, I'm like, yeah, like done, good, let's do it. Which I'd never written a press release, I didn't know what it was, so I did my research to figure that out, and then I also figured out that since I liked magazines, I would look in the magazine and see where I thought this product would fit, look who wrote the section, and then I'd call that person, and I'd also send them like an email and a press release about the products. So I ended up establishing a lot of contacts,
For sure.
sort of through that work, which was what kind of precipitated or facilitated my entrance into business.